Welcome to the 4th annual Folds of Honor Collegiate. First on the tee from the University of Notre Dame, Rocco Salvetti.
During a round, you're always trying to get your mind off of golf here and there and just ground yourself, and I think that's like the perfect moment to ground yourself. It was our 11th hole, and you're halfway through the round, and obviously taps means so much more, and to have that tradition and everyone stop, everyone acknowledge it, and it's just really, really cool.
Why 1300? Because there are 13 folds that bring that flag to that iconic shape of freedom. And we wanted to create a moment of reverence where everybody pauses in their own way. And just think, like, how often do you stop for 2 minutes to do anything in your life? But to look out here at the fans, to look at the, Kira, who plays golf for Navy, and like full attention out there with that unapologetic American flag. And it's the only American flag in play that I know of any golf course in the world, because that's why we're here. And it's the first thing you see as you come through the memorial. It goes back to the very first Folds of Honor event. 67 people, 8,500 bucks we raised in my parents' little golf club, the Grand Haven Golf Club in Grand Haven, Michigan. Fast forward 15 years and the golf course is on fumes, right? It's not gonna make it. To your point, the easy way is, hey, let's just turn it into real estate, like was what happens to many golf courses, but all credit to my dad on this one. He said, you can't do that. This is where Folds of Honor started. And that led to the Hail Mary pass to both of our golf hero, my dad and myself, to Jack Nicklaus, with this crazy idea to build a golf course that I already had the name for in my heart, American Dunes. I went into my dissertation with him with the idea of American Dunes, and he stopped me like 2 minutes, and he was like, hey, Dan, I'm in. And one of the most exciting, scariest moments of my life too, because the GOAT just said yes, and I had nowhere to go after that yes. But he didn't just waive his fee. He went all in to make sure that we got this thing done.
You know, Jack Nicklaus is fired up about a project when he makes extra site visits. So far, he's made 7 trips to Grand Haven to make sure American Dunes becomes what he and Dan Rooney envisioned, a golf experience unlike any other.
And this is a golf course that is going to raise people's spirits and awareness.
The awareness is for Folds of Honor, a nonprofit Rooney started back in 2007 after he watched a ceremony on the tarmac of Gerald R. Ford Airport for fallen soldier Brock Buckland. So far, the foundation has raised $50 million to give out scholarships to the children of soldiers who have been killed or disabled in war.
It's really neat to do a golf course for a purpose. And this is definitely for a purpose.
You're gonna face hard times, and our lives are defined by what we do when it doesn't go our way in those times. And Jack was lockstep, tighter than ever, as we faced challenges together to build American Dunes. And that's where our real friendship was forged. And I lost my dad about a month ago. And I was playing with the greats of golf, caddying for Mr. Nicklaus, and he reached over and puts his hand on my leg, and I told my wife, I was like, you know, he's become a father figure to me, and it's just such a blessing in my life.
And Rooney's been a good friend for a long time. He's a good man. He's supported, he's started the Folds and what they're doing and who they're honoring and what it does is something that I was very much, very much moved by. And so when Dan asked me to come up and do it, it wasn't a big choice for me.
The Folds Collegiate it's like my soul coming to life.
How good is this? Another gorgeous day in Western Michigan. Old Glory in the background as we're at American Dunes Golf Club. You look on the map, it's just 300 yards from Lake Michigan, the annual host of the Folds of Honor Collegiate. This event in its 4th year, 3rd time on our air here at Golf Channel. Jack Nicklaus, the course architect, and the mission to help raise awareness and funds for the families of our fallen and disabled veterans. The memorial walking into American Dunes really resonates with every golfer who tees it up here honoring our fallen soldiers.
I was a former college golfer at the University of Kansas. What we do at Folds of Honor is award college scholarships. And so to bring this all together at American Dunes, the birthplace of Folds of Honor, if there was ever a 360 moment where, wow, it all makes sense as you look back, it's the Folds of Honor Collegiate. And the schools playing there, being able to share with the men's and the women's teams that in a sport that's all about you, this is the one tournament that you play that's bigger than you because you're playing on behalf of the hundreds of Folds of Honor recipients that are represented by the schools who compete in the Folds Collegiate.
Just for 4 in a row. Buries it. Took a while. It's worth the wait though. What a run.
So we were very intentional at American Dunes to make sure the only way in and out of the property is through the Folds of Honor Memorial. And when you walk through that memorial, you look down and there are the boot prints of soldiers who have given their lives for our freedoms. The stories of their families who are Folds of Honor recipients are flanked on that wall.
My husband is Major David Blair Faulkner. His call sign was Bama. He flew A-10s for the United States Air Force. He transitioned after Hurricane Katrina to the T-38 at Columbus Air Force Base, which is what he was flying on April the 23rd, 2008, when his fighter jet and his student pilot went out on a training mission. It was their second mission of the day. The cable broke, and he and Matthew Emmons, his student pilot, were killed at 12:30 on the runway. I couldn't believe this was my story. I couldn't believe this was our future. Colonel Gerber, the wing commander, he said, Rachel, he said, the United States Air Force in this country are going to take care of you and your little children. And honestly, I believed him, but as much as the Air Force in this country has provided for our family, there is a huge gap for Gold Star families. And we lived in that gap, and Folds of Honor really came into our lives at the most perfect time when we were deciding where to go to school, what could my kids' future look like, and what did Blair want for their future. And because of Folds of Honor, we were able to experience everything that Blair wanted and even more because of Folds.
It's peerless in the world of golf because while you're there to play an unbelievable Jack Nicklaus layout, that's not what it's about. It's about giving everyone the opportunity to say thank you for my freedoms and be part of something bigger than yourself. And we're generating about $1.5 million a year now from American Dunes to support Folds of Honor on an annual basis. That's what the place is about. It is golf's most heroic round because it's not about you on that day. It's about all those who serve and us together being able to take care of those families, giving them the gift of an education so they can chase that American dream that their loved one fought so hard for.
You know, his boots are right here. You know, we had to send in his boots for them to make that impression, and just getting those out of storage and sending them in, and it's just you know, it's 17 years ago that Blair died, but standing here it feels like it was today. That picture was at our wedding, and I think he'd be so proud of us, and yet it's so bittersweet. It's so bittersweet seeing him here. It's just humbling, sad.
Now on the tee from the U.S. Naval Academy, Kira Howard.
I think definitely walking through the monument right in the beginning just makes you feel like you're part of something greater than yourself. Obviously, at the Naval Academy, we are surrounded by memorials and other fellow graduates and members of the service that were killed in action. But being here and competing for something that gives back to those that are affected by the ultimate sacrifice is just a great honor, and really makes what I do and being a midshipman have a lot greater weight to it. And I just feel very honored and blessed to be in this position.
That was the foundation of how this whole thing started. We're going to bring Army, Navy, Air Force together, and then we'll invite some other great teams around them.
I kind of make a point of it every year to make sure I put my bag down and then walk through, you know, that little area over there, and just kind of read some of the plaques. And I mean, I get chills every year because it's kind of wild, especially for me. I know, you know, in just over a year now, I'll be out there in the fleet or the Fleet Marine Force, you know, doing things active duty, and kind of really hits home that those guys were all in my shoes just a few years ago, and they gave the ultimate sacrifice.
This event's really special. I've been fortunate to play it twice, and it's a lot more than just a golf tournament. You know, the environment, the atmosphere, who you're really playing for. You're not necessarily just playing for yourself or your team this week. And then on top of that, you know, I felt like I have a duty to the team. You know, I was with a different team last week, but you know, I'm with this team a whole lot more out of the year, and felt like I have a responsibility that if I'm able, and if you know, I have the resources to be able to get here and play, then I'd play for the guys.
Notre Dame standout Jacob Molesky here in two. For Eagle.
To get in the red figures for the wing.
Yes! The final roll, and it drops.
How about that?
A 68. What a round.
Got to give him the effort of the week.
13th in the World Amateur Golf Rankings, from Walker Cup winner to Eagle on the 54th hole.
And so, yeah, I left Cyprus at maybe 8:45. Got to the airport at 9:15, and we were probably wheels up at 9:45. Landed at 4:30 and took a little nap from about 6 to 9, and I was ready for the first tee.
I talked about being there first team, but not missing this place. You've played here for the last 2 years, and you did not want to miss coming here. How does that make you feel when a kid does that?
It gets me emotional. What I would have given as a college golfer to experience something like this. And that is the ultimate affirmation that what we've created here at the Folds of Honor Collegiate is connecting to these young men and women like no other college golf tournament, professional tournament, wherever their careers take them, will. It's just really powerful, and it makes me proud of, you know, the team out here and what God put on our heart to create the Folds of Honor Collegiate mission success when you hear those stories.
My uncle's right here, Ryan. It's my mom's brother. He's my godfather. He passed away in 2005, July 10th, 2005 in Iraq, shortly after my first birthday. Last time he was home was for my baptism. And, you know, it's, obviously I wasn't really old enough to get to know him, but from what I've heard and everything, he's just a really special person to me. He grew up playing hockey, and I grew up playing hockey as well my whole life up until I was a junior in high school. And he wore the number 26, and so did I, and I wear the chain every day. And it's just a good reminder that he's always with us. Yeah.
On the 18th tee, there's a 13-foot white cross that's visible from 7 holes, which is unique to all the world in golf. And we ask players here every day, we give them a nickel on the first tee to deposit that nickel. And it's great fighter pilot tradition that we throw a nickel in the grass at the gravesite of our fellow fighter pilots. Put that nickel at the cross and just say a prayer for, man, all those out on the frontiers of freedom that make days like today in this place possible. And it's peerless. And that's really what brings this whole thing together is that cross.
From Finland, a Folds of Honor champion, Anastasia Heikkinen, takes the individual honors for Kentucky.
Give me a hug. I'm hecka proud of you.
The 70, the freshman showing nerves of steel as Texas A&M, your 2025 Folds of Honor team champion. Their second win this season, John.
American Dunes is my soul as a golf course. You know, it's God, country, and the game in that order. To have the men and women out here competing at this level. If you would have told me as a 22-year-old when I sunk my last putt at the 1996 NCAA championship, which by the way Tiger won, that 30 years later this would have been my life, man, I'd never believe it.
Jennings for the win.
Yeah.
William Jennings, the sophomore, breaks through at the Folds of Honor Collegiate, getting his first victory. Wasn't easy.
It was not easy, but it's in, and it's official.
And he gets to celebrate with his teammates as Alabama goes back-to-back. They are once again the Folds of Honor team champions.
Folds of Honor fighter pilot helmet, the coolest trophy in all of college golf. And I know you love this, but on behalf of the Rocket Classic and Brittany, we're also proud to award you a sponsor's exemption to play in next year's PGA Tour event. So congratulations on being the top.
Just overwhelmed with gratitude, the blessing that, you know, God called me on, and I think most important, like all the people that believed in like what was in my soul, and the donors and the folks, my parents, that helped make this place possible.